People of Baal find that holy.
Okay, welcome everyone. As we begin, co-sponsored by the Zepkowitz family in honor of their parents, thank you, and co-sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Eddie Chazan, L'Refuah Shalema for Yedidia Ben Penina, Shoshana Bas Penina, Simone Bas Rochel, co-sponsored by Yam Rivlin, Lili Nishmas Yitzhak Ben Avram Yehuda Levi, co-sponsored by Shelley Zeitlin, for his children, Eli, Orit, and Ora, and sponsored by Berko Wasser for Shalema from Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel, Dov Meir ben Chaya Gittel, and Akosa Toiv to the Shir, also sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Eli Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yehuda Arya, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas God, Yosef ben Sion ben Yaakov Zeb. Special note to Shalom Fogel that he's on, even though it's a travel day. That not many people get to come on a travel day. That's bully to you. We are going to learn for a little 2-week-old baby, Tmima Bas Yoel, that she should have a refuah shalema b'sei she'achei Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. The Olam is late in arriving tonight, but we welcome in Shelley Zeitlin, Irving Fishbaum, Yitzi Muller, Saba, Marshall Castle, Yaakov Warman, Nachman Chapler, Rabbi Kranz, Menachem Yemansky, Shalom Fogel, Reuven Pollack, Stephen Holtzman, Mo Kushner, Baruch Ian, Jack Silverman. Jack, it's good to see you. Dr. Guy, Itchy, Shimon Klein, Naftali Jablin, Ilya Shutman, Avram Zepkowitz, Berish Gesserman. Here in Shul so far we have Chaim Kramer and Reuven Shanet. We begin on the bottom line of Tzadi Amid Beis, bottom line, Amar leKeser leRabbi Gamliel. The Tsar said to Rabbi Gamliel, Amrisu, you claim the Shichvei Chaye, the dead come back to life. Ha'ava Afra, but they decompose to dust. Va'afra Mika Chaye, does dust come to life? Amrle Brate, so the daughter of the Tsar said, Shafke, leave it to me, Va'ana Mahadran Ale, and I'll answer the question myself. What'd she say? Shnei Yotzim Yesh B'Yireinu. There's 2 potters in our city. Echad Yotzer Min HaMayim, one who forms pottery from water, Ve'echad Yotzer Min HaTit, and one who forms it from clay. Which one would be more praiseworthy? Amalei, so the Tsar said, of course, to be able to create pottery from water, that's pretty incredibly. Amalei min hamayim tsar, well, man is made from a tipa srucha, from a smelly drop. Min hatit lo kol shchein, surely God could recreate a person from earth. The Rabbi Yishmael Tana kal v'chaymer miklei zechuchas, a kal v'chaymer from glass. Ma klei zechuchas, she'amolon beruach basa v'dam. Ma the glass, which is made by the toil of flesh and blood. Nish beru yesh lem takana, if it breaks, it has a way to correct it. Basa v'dam, she'berucha shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a human being which is made by God, al achas kama v'kama, that it could be fixed. Amalei ahu mina Rabami. So a heretic said to Rabami, remember we said that there is a opinion that a min is maimun yeshu noitzri, those that believe in yeshu noitzri. Amalei ahu mina l'Rebbe Ami, amrisu de shichvei chay. The same question, you say that the dead could come back to life. V'ha'ave afra. It decomposes to earth. V'afra mika chai, can earth come to life? Let me tell you what it's compared to. He told his servants, make for me a big palace, b'makom she'ein mayim va'ofer, in a place where there's no water and earth. Holchu uvanu Isai. They went and built it, but since they didn't have good materials, liyamim naflu. Amalehem chazru uvanu Isai b'makom she'yesh ofer mayim. Now go and build it in a place where there is earth and water. In other words, where they could make the proper materials for building. Amalei. So they said to him, "Ein anu yichelim, we can't do it." Ka'as aleim. He got angry at them. V'amalem b'makom she'ein mayim v'ofer b'nisim, in a place where you didn't have the right materials, you built it. Achshav she'yesh mayim v'ofer al achas kama v'kama. Now, so man was created initially without earth. Now that you have earth, then surely, v'im iyatamamin, and if you don't believe that you could create a living being from earth, say, go out, lebika, to a valley, v'rei achbar, and see what they call the spring moss. Shehayoim chetzyoy basar v'chetzya adama, where today its front is formed, but its back is still earth. Lamachar hishritz, the next day it develops and it becomes all flesh. Manasseh kulei basar. There's a famous Tiferes Yisrael. Tiferes Yisrael quotes that these creatures that were half flesh and still half earth were sighted in Thebes in Egypt, and indeed the Rambam in the Pirush Mishnayos says that he knows of the existence of such creatures. Shema toimer lizman meruba. Maybe you say, but this takes a very long time for the transformation to take place. Olo lahar, go up to a mountain. Once in 70 years, the chalazon comes out of the water. This is the chalazon that the tchelas dye comes from for the tzitzis. Lamacher, on the morrow, yardu geshamim, rain comes down. V'nismalik kulay chalazonis. And one day, the entire mountaintop was full of chalazons. So this type of either snail or this type of creature. So we see that it could proliferate very quickly. It happens to be a fascinating thing that the chalazon was in the chelik of Zvulun, because Zvulun supported Yisachar, and indeed Zvulun is begematria chalazon. We want to welcome in Michael, who joined us, and Mark, who joined us, and Moshe Lehman, who joined us, and Michael, who joined us. It's great having all of you joining us, and we're still awaiting the arrival of a lot of people. A lot of people are arriving late tonight, but as I told people, you come when you can. We want to make note of Marshall's Mesiras Nefesh, that he could have gone to a hockey game tonight, but instead he stayed to learn Torah.
Zvulun was like the...
He made hockey ain't Torah. I know.
Zvulun was like the mariner, right? The ships and the... Right?
Yeah, the Chayf Yamim Yishkain, yes.
Marshall, you miss a couple times hockey, you got used to that.
So now, says the Gemara, Amalei hahu mina legvia ben psicha. And if you're just joining us now, we are starting the first wide line on Daf Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph. The first wide line on Daf Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph. Amalei ahu mina legvia ben psisa. A certain min said to Gevia ben Psisa, who was a hunchback, Vailechan chayava, woe to you, guilty people, the amrisan may say chayin, that you say the dead could come back to life. Now that doesn't make sense. The chayay mason, even those that are alive die. The may say chayin, once they're dead, they're going to come back to life. Amalei, so he said to them, Vailechan chayavaya, woe to you, you guilty ones. The amrisan may say loy chayin, You say the dead won't come back to life. If those that were never here come to life from a tipas rucha, the havachaya, those that were already had life, like kolshchein, that they can't be revived. Amalei chayava karasli, you call me guilty. Ika imna, if I taka get resurrected, but itnabach, I will keep you upashitna lakmusech, and I will straighten out your hump. Upashitna lakmusech minach. Amalei, so he said to them, you know, if you know how to do that, they'll call you a great doctor. Amalei, yamata isakain roife tikra, they'll call you an expert doctor, v'schar harbatitel, and you could take a lot of money for such service. Tan Rabbanan, be'esrim va'arba b'nisan, as we welcome in Mechal Avram, we're holding 5 lines into the wide lines of 91a, 5 lines into the wide lines. Be'esrim va'arba b'nisan, on the 24th of Nisan, is natilu di musnoi mi Yehudim Yerushalayim. Those who challenged us were removed from Yehudim Yerushalayim. And the Gemara now claims that people made against the Jews. Kishabo b'nei, a little knowledge is very dangerous. And this is the reason why it was so dangerous when they translated the Torah. When they translated the Torah, it caused the Goyim to get a hold of it, and a little knowledge is very dangerous, as the Gemara now demonstrates several ways. Kishabo b'nei Afrikia, when the people of Africa came, Ladonim Yisrael, Lefnei Alexander Makdon, when they came, Alexander Makdon was the world ruler. It says that Alexander Makdon also really, Taisus says also he was in effect Malach Bekipa. He ruled over the whole world. So they came before Alexander the Great of Macedonia. Amrulai Eretz Canaan Shalanuhi. The Canaanite land, what we call Eretz Yisrael, belongs to us. The Eretz Canaan Ligvulasah, the land that belongs to Canaan in all of its borders. And Canaan, Canaan, Avu and and Canaan is the father of Africa. We know that Canaan, the Africans descended from Canaan. Amalu Gavir ben Psicha, so Gavir ben Psicha said l'chachamim, look, let me deal with them. Tanuli Rishas, give me permission. I'll debate them lefnei Alexander Makdon, before Alexander the Great. And it's for you, it's a no-loss situation. If they defeat me, Amra had you defeated just one of our common people, a hunchback. And if I defeat them, you'll tell them, you see, Torah's Moshe nitzchaschem. They were defeated by the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. So they knew about the prowess of Gavir ben Psisa. So they told him, okay, and he debated with these Africans. Where are you bringing your proof from? So Amrullah, they told him righteously, Minatayra. So he said, okay, if you're debating for the Torah, that means you accept the Torah as the truth. Well, look what the Torah says about Canaan. Cursed is Canaan, a slave of slaves, he should be to his brothers. Oh, so that means that you are our slaves. Eved shekana nechasim, an Eved that acquires property, Eved lemi, unechasim lemi. Who does the Eved belong to? Who does the property belong to? They would call Mashakana Eved Kana Rabbi. Many years you didn't work for us, so you owe us a lot of money. So Alexander the Great said, well, give an answer. Amrulai, so they said, Tnu lanu zman shloisha yom, give us 3 days to research it. Nasalem zman, they researched it, but they looked into it and they couldn't find an answer. Miyad borchu, they didn't want to become slaves, so they fled. V'nichu sadasein kishein zrayis, they left their fields while they were planted. Karmei and kishein netuis, and their vineyards when they were fully grown. And to sweeten the story, it was a Shemitah year, so the Yidden didn't have any food. And now they had from the Goyim the planted grain and the planted vineyards. Shuv, another time, Shuv Pamachas, Bo b'nei Mitzrayim ladon im Yisrael, lefnei Alexander's Magdan. The Egyptians came to litigate with the Bnei Yisrael against, in the presence of Alexander, like Alexander was the supreme judge, right? So they came to litigate their case against the Jews. Amulai, they said to him, it says in the Torah, Hashem nosan escheinu am b'nei Mitzrayim, Hashem gave favor, Jewish charm to the eyes of the Egyptians, and they gave the Jews loans, but they never returned those loans. So now they said in front of Alexander, give us the silver and gold that you took from us. Amar Gavia ben Pesisa, once again, Gavia ben Pesisa says, give me permission, and I'll go and debate with them. And it's Lifnei Alexander's. And there's no loss. If they defeat me, yeah, you defeated a hunchback. And if I defeat them, he didn't take any credit for himself. They gave him permission. And he went and he litigated with them. Where are you bringing proof from? They said, what do you mean? From your own Torah. The Bnei Yisrael occupied Mitzrayim 430 years. And you worked us for 430 years. Give us payment for the slavery for 600,000 people. 430 years. Now, of course, we know that we were only in Egypt 210 years. That we know. That we were only in Egypt 210 years. So the pshat that the Mefarshim say is actually the Kushia Shibud, the intensified Shibud was 86 years. But 4/5 of Klal Yisrael died by the Makkah of Chayshach. So actually, the 600,000 was only a fifth. So if you multiply 86 by 5, you get 430. And that was the 430 years that they wanted compensation for. Amalem Alexander's Magdan, so Alexander the Great said, look, you took the claim from the Torah, give an answer. Amrullah, they said to him, give us 3 days. Naslam's man, he gave them 3 days, but they checked it out, and they couldn't find an answer. Miyad haniach, so they sang kishein zruis. They left their fields when they were planted, ukrameim kishein netuas, the vineyards when they were already fully in bloom, ubaruchu, and again, v'isa shana shmiyas, that was a Shemitah year, so they had food to eat.
Recently also, the Mitzrayim took, about 25 years ago, I read an article that they took the Jews to court. I don't know what happened at the end, but history repeats itself.
Look, the Indians are taking us to court too. There's kooks all over the place. Vishuv, Marshall, I wouldn't embarrass kooks, so I wasn't talking about you.
I'm in Barry. I'm standing up for him.
The Shuv, he chimes in at the wrong place. He just can't keep his eyes off the hockey screen. The Shuv, at one time, the Shuv Pamachas, Bo b'nei Yishmael u'b'nei Keturah, the children of Yishmael and the children of Keturah, came ladon in Yisrael to litigate with Yisrael of Alexander's Magdon. Alexander the Great brought out all the kooks. Amalei Eretz Canaan shalanu v'shalachem. We should get a share in Eretz Yisrael. The Chsiv Eila told us Yishmael about Avram, the Chsiv Eila told us Yitzchak ben Avram. So we're the children of Avram, just like you. Amalem Gvia ben Sisa, again, Gvia ben Sisa said, L'chacham Tanuli Rishus, give me permission, Eilach ve'odin imayim, L'fnei Alexander's Magdan, and I'll go and debate before Alexander of Macedonia. If they defeat me, just, you'll say, yeah, he's just a hunchback. If I conquer them, now he said this even though he already succeeded 2 times, but still he was an incredibly humble person. They gave him permission, and he went and he debated them. Where are you bringing proof that you have an equal share? So they said self-righteously, so he says, okay, so since we agree that we're using the Torah as our base, he gave everything to Yitzchak, and to the children of the concubines, that's Hagar, that's Keturah, Asher Avram, that's Ishmael, Nasan Avram Matanis, Avram gave gifts. Of Shenosan Agatan Laban of Bechayev, if a father gives some gifts to some of the children, Vishiger Zeh Me'al Zeh, and he sends them away, and he says, I'm giving everything to Yitzchak, Klum Yesh L'Zeh Al Zeh Klum, do they have any claim? Now what matana, what gift did Avram Avinu give them? My matanas. Amar Reb Yirmiyah Ba'Abba, Malamed Shemasa Lehem Shem Tumah. He gave them the name of Tumah. Now, this would seem to imply, with the Shem Tumah you could do sorcery. So some want to say that we see from here that a Ben Noach could engage in sorcery. But others learn completely differently. Others learn that since they were not allowed, one of the Noahide laws was not to worship idolatry, he gave them the shemos of Tumah that they could recognize when they were being duped and to recognize who was practicing sorcery. Amalei.
Why other people do practice sorcery?
In those days, yes.
Rabbi Weiss?
Yes.
Unlike the other 2 claims, couldn't Yishmael easily take from the Torah that a claim of Yishmael was the Bechor? So that's straight pasuk. Bechor gets a double portion of the inheritance.
But again, not when the Torah says that everything is given to Yitzchak. That's a beferish pasuk. Could have said that too, and that would be the answer to that also. Now, Amalei Antoninus Rebbe, Gufu neshama yechelin lifter atzma min adin. It would seem to be that both the body and the soul could exonerate themselves from judgment. Ketzad, Guf Amar, the Guf says it's the neshama's fault. Neshama chatas, shemiyom shepir shemimenu, because as soon as the soul left me, I'm dead. Hareini mutul ke'evan daimim bekever. I'm like a silent stone in the grave. So it's the soul's fault. And the neshama says, it's the body's fault. Simple. Because as soon as I divested myself of the body, I'm flying around in the air like a bird, and I'm sinless. So he says, let me tell you what this is like. A human king, he had a beautiful orchard. And he had in the beautiful orchard bakurais, ripe figs, beautiful early figs. Bakurais nice. Bakurais means the early ones that ripen first, and they're very delicious. And he had there 2 guards. Echad chiger, one was lame, the echad suma, and one was blind. The idea is the lame person would see him and tell the blind person to run in a certain direction to get rid of the trespassers. Amalei chiger l'suma, so the lame person said to the blind person, Bakuris nois ani roya b'pardes. I see beautiful, fresh, ripe figs in the orchard. Ba'vir kiveni, take me, I can't walk, I'm lame, but put me on your shoulders, and I will bring them la'achlam, and I will eat them, and we will eat them. So Rachav Chiger al Gabe Suma, the lame person rode on top of the blind person, ve'aviyim, and they took it v'achlam. Liyamin Paradis, after a while, the owner of the orchard came, Amalem Bakuris Nois, Heichanein, where are my beautiful ripe figs? Amalei Chiger, so the lame person said, Klum Yeshli Raglayim Lalach Bem, do I have feet that I could have gone and got them? Amalei Suma, the blind person said, Klum Yeshli Einayim Lirais, do I have eyes that I could see them? Me Asav, what did he do? Here, Kav Chiger al Gabe Suma, he put the chiger on top of the summa and judged them together. When Hashem judges us, afterwards he'll put the neshama back in the guf and judge it together. Maybe neshama v'zorka b'guf v'dayna sam ke'echad. Shenemar yikra el hashemayim me'al. He will call to the soul from heaven above. Be'al and the body from the land below, ladin imai. That means Yikra el Hashemayim me'al, he'll call to the heavens above, zu neshama, ve'al ha'aretz ladin, and to the earth below, judgment imo zeh, and he'll judge them together. Now, there was a very unique relationship between Antoninus, the emperor of Rome, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the author of the Mishnah. And they would have discussions. Amalei Antoninus l'Rebbe mipnei machama yoytze b'mizrach v'shokas b'marav. Why does the sun rise in the east and set in the west? Amalei, so he said, if it would be the opposite way, you would ask me the same question. It has to be one way. You would have asked me also. It has to be one way. What I meant is, why does it set in the west? Why doesn't it rise in the east and then fall back and set in the east? Amalei, so he says, to give greetings and to pay homage, to bow to the Creator. The host of heavens, now the Shechina is in the west. Right, the Kodesh Kodashim is in the west, so therefore that's why it settles in the west. So Antoninus asked Rebbe, Amalei v'teisi al palgadurokia, when a person bows to the monarch, he doesn't go all the way up to his face. So let Amalei v'teisi al palgadurokia, let the sun go till mid-sky, till noon. V'titein shalma, give greetings to the Creator, and then v'teil, and then go out from a window and disappear. It shouldn't settle all the way into the west. He says, yeah, but that won't work, because if the sun would leave suddenly, then workers would be left in the complete darkness. Mishum payalim or mishum ovrei drachim, in order that there should be a gradual setting of the sun for workers and for travelers. V'amalei Antoninus l'Rebbe, neshama me'emasai nitna ba'adam. When is the soul inserted into the creation? Mishas pikida, from the time of when he's conceived. That's one pshat. There are other pshatim in pikida. One pshat is from the time that the intention to create is given over to the Malach. But the simple pshat is Mishas Pekida, from the time of conception, or Mishas Yetzira, or from the time that the fetus is created, right? It says, Abam Yom Liyitzir Savlad. Amalei Mishas Yitzira. It's first given at creation. So Antoninus says that's not logical, because that means that until 40 days, the fetus exists without a soul. Amalei Efshir Chaticha Shel Basar Aymed Shloishi Yamim B'lei Melech. Could meat exist 3 days without salt? Remember, they didn't have refrigeration, so they salted it. But in the same way, could the fetus exist for 40 days without a soul in it? And not decompose? Ella Mishas Pikida. It must be from the time of it was conceived. Amar Rebbe, so Rebbe agreed. He said, Davazel Amdeni Antoninus. This was taught to me by Antoninus. This was revealed to me by Antoninus. O Mikra Messiah. And a pasuk proves it, that he's right. As we welcome in Dov Salkowitz, who's joining us. Dov, we are on Daf Tzadik Aleph Amid Beis, and we are about 30 lines from the top. I just want to point out again that I always say people should come when they can. They shouldn't think that they can't walk in the middle. And this year, you come when you can, and you leave when you have to. You know, even if you get 10 minutes, we're ahead of the time. You know, Yitzi has made us aware that this is Daf 1900. Now, that's an astounding accomplishment. 1900 blot. Now, since Shas is 711 blot, that means we have 811 blot to go to finish Shas. You know, so it's a little bit more than 2 years. And we'll finish Shas. And, that's amazing. And even, that's what I tell people, even if you have to miss. So, out of the 1900 blot, you missed 300 blot. You still have 1600 blot. That's amazing. It's amazing. You missed 500 blot, you still have 1400 blot. I mean, it's truly amazing. Now I talking today to Mrs. Greenberg. It was Menachem Avelhar, and I mentioned how Harvey used to come to the shir, and she said to me how grateful she was that Harvey had a chance to learn with us the daf and was taking it with him. You know, this is the stuff that we take with us forever. Anyway. Omikra Messiah. And there's a pasuk in Antoninus' defense that the soul is inserted at the time of conception. Shenema ufikudasecha, when you are remembered. In other words, when you are conceived, shamra ruchi, my spirit is preserved. That's when the spirit comes. Another case where Antoninus, so to speak, bested Rebbe. V'amalei Antoninus Rebbe, me'imasa Yetzirah shoyleit ba'adam. At what point does the Yetzirah hold sway over man? Mishas Yetzira or Mishas Yetzia? Is it from the time of creation, meaning at the time of conception, or at the time when the fetus comes out? Amalei, so Rebbe said, Mishas Yetzira. It's from the time of conception. Amalei, he said, well, if it has a Yetzirah at the time of conception, then he'll try to leave early and every baby would be a miscarriage. Ella mishas yitzia. It must be only after it comes out. Rebbe Davazel Amdeni Antoninus. Antoninus taught this to me. O Mikra Messiah, and a pasuk proves it. Shenema lepesach chatas rovitz. At the opening of the womb, that's where sin crouches. That's where the Yetzer Hara crouches. Now, of course, everybody might right away ask, then how come Esau was fighting with Yaakov in his mother's womb? If he didn't have a Yetzer Hara yet, why does it say every time Rivka passed the church, Esau was running to go out? He didn't get the Yetzer Hara yet. So why should he be running out? So from this question, I wanted to learn that, and everybody asked the question, why did Yaakov want to run out? He was learning from the Malach. We understand. Esau wanted to run out, but why would Yaakov want to run out? He was learning from the greatest Rebbe, from a Malach, and there's all kinds of answers. He wanted to get away from Esau. He wanted to learn Torah Lishma, Amelis. He wanted to learn and fulfill. But I wanted to give another answer, and that is that really this was only a vision. It never happened. Remember, she was given a prophecy, which he went to Shem, and he told her it was a prophecy that one would be stronger than the other. V'rav yavod tzar, and the older one will serve the younger one. So really, it didn't happen. Although it says, that could have been just for a vision, but not that they actually wanted it. It was a vision to her, a nevuah that she should know, that she should help Yaakov steal the brachas from Esav, etc. Reish Lakish Rami. Also, I want to learn something else. It says that if a baby would have a Yetzer Hara, then the Yetzer Hara would cause the baby to leave the womb early. That's a proof that the Yetzer Hara is given permission to tell us things that could kill us. Because here the Yetzer Hara telling the baby to leave the womb early would mean that the baby should die. And that's why the Yetzer Hara gets people to smoke. Hi there. Hi there. It's good to see you. Welcome. Make yourself at home. Make yourself at home. The Yetzer Hara gets people to smoke. It's going to kill them. To vape. To drive when they're shikr. It's going to kill them. The Yetzer Hara is not Yitzer Shalayim Miskaber Alav Adam B'chol Yom Umavakesh Lamisai. This is just an example. Yetzer Hara it wants a person to die. So if it would be in the womb, it would get the baby to miscarry. Reish Lakish Rami. Reish Lakish asks a contradiction. Ksiv bam iver upiseach hara v'yoledes yachtav. It says amongst them at the time of resurrection will be a blind person, a lame person, a pregnant person, a woman that gives birth together. The ksiv, but then it says oz yedaleg, they will skip. Ka'ayil pisech, the lame person will hop around and skip like a hart. The Torah in l'shain ilain, and the tongue of the mute will sing. Ki nifku b'midbar mayim v'nachalois ba'areva. They will break out in the desert water, and rivers will break out in the plains. So haketza, which one is it? Will they be lame people, or will the lame be cured? The answer is, by the resurrection, oimdim b'muman, they will first rise with their blemishes, or misrapim, and then they'll be healed. Similarly, Ula Rami, Ula asks a contradiction. Ksiv bila hamaves lanetzach, death will be swallowed forever. Umacha Hashem dima me'al kol panim, and Hashem will erase tears from every face. The Ksiv Ki anar ben mea shana yamas, that they'll die at 100. Nobody will die young. Lo yeh misham oid ul yamim. There won't be young people dying. So which one is it? Will be death swallowed and erased, or will people just live till 100? Says the Gemara, like Kasha can be Yisrael. One is talking about Yidden. Kamba if they Chaychavim. One is talking about Goyim. In other words, the Yidden will live forever. The Goyim will die at 100. Says the Gemara, if they Chaychavim, my boy awesome. What are the Goyim doing there at all? Hanech Dichsiv, they are those that will, the Tzadikei U'Masa'aylam, that will merit to serve the Yidden. Dichsiv B'hu V'amdu Zarim, the strangers will stand U'Ra'utzayinchem, and they'll shepherd your sheep. U'B'nei Necher, and foreign people, Ikareichem will be your plowmen, V'Karmeichen, and take care of your vineyards. Rav Chisda Rami, Ksiv Chafra Halavana, the moon will be ashamed, Ubusha Achama, and the sun will be embarrassed, Kimalach Hashem Tzavakas, because Hashem will reign. But Ksiv Halavana Karachama, the light of the sun will be like the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. V'Arachama Yeshivasayim Shivasayam, and the light of the sun will be 7 times like the light of the 7 days of creation. So the Gemara says, Lo Kasha, Kanli Moisa Mashiach. In Moisa Mashiach, the sun will be 7-fold. Kan Olam Haba, in Olam Haba, the sun will be so insignificant that it will be shamed. There's no difference between Olam Hazeh and Moisa Mashiach al Shibud Goyis Bilvad, just that we won't be subjugated. So it can't be that in Moisa Mashiach the sun will be 7 times bigger, like Kasha. Kan b'machana tzadikim, in the camp of the righteous, the sun will be 7 times big. Kan b'machana shchina, in the rarefied inner sanctum of the shchina, there the sun will pale in insignificance from the brightness of the shchina. Rava Rami, Rava also asks a contradiction. Ksiv, it says, Ani omis ve'echya, I will put to death and I will bring to life. V'ksiv machatzti v'aniyerpa, I will wound and I will cure. So one pasuk implies that Hashem will just put a person back to life. Another pasuk says he'll even heal him from his ailments. First I will resurrect people. Then afterwards I will cure them. Tan Rabbanan, Ani omis v'achaya, I put to death and bring to life. Maybe we think that means it's talking about 2 different people. Yochel shetei misa be'echad v'chayim be'echad. Death with one and life with another. So that's like the world now. The galgal ha'chayze ba'olam. People are born and people die. Kederch sha'olam noyet. Talmud Leimer, mechatzti v'ani erpa, I wound and I cure, just like ma mechitza refuah, wounding and curing. Be'echad, af misa v'chayim, putting to death and bringing to life. Be'echad, v'kan tshuva l'ayim. Here is an answer to those say that ain't kiyas hamesim in the Torah. There's no source for the resurrection in the Torah. Now we continue the subject of bringing proof to the resurrection. Before I go further, I want to thank Shelley for making that text that people could put around and put on their status and publicize the share. And I really want to let you know that any time you get somebody to join the share, you really get credit for all of their learning afterwards. You don't take anything away from them, but you get credit for generating people to come to the share. So it's a really very big thing. Yaakov Worman was telling me that he's going to try to make up some cards and hand them out to people, and that's also somebody could go and make some cards and hand them out, and that's another way. Any way. Look, we all know David Helfgott has been on the share and has finished Shas with me many times. I used to go on the Country Yossi radio program, and I made a pitch on the radio program, and he heard it, and he came to the share for many times Shas because of that pitch. And many years ago, before it was forbidden to put signs on lampposts, I made a sign, and I had a sign hanger put out 150 signs on lampposts in Borough Park. I forget his full last name. How could I forget? He was such a devoted Talmud. Mr. Weichbrad, Oliver Shalom. He saw the sign hanging on a lamppost and went to his wife, Oliver Shalom, and said, I think I'm going to come and do it. And he finished Shas with me at least 4 times. So, you never know what happens when you see a sign. It's unbelievable. Also, I want to mention that today is already Tuesday, and I am working feverishly on the Chumash here for tomorrow night, but I do not have a sponsor. We don't have one sponsor for tomorrow night, so if you're interested in sponsoring it, please get to me pronto. Text 718-916-3100, 718-916-3100, or email at rmmwsi, Rabbi Moshe Y, Staten Island, at AOL.com. Please get to me when you can. Says the Gemara, as we continue this absolutely incredible Gemara, Rameir is now going to give us a source for Tkiyas HaMeisim. Tanya, Amar Rameir, Menayin l'Tkiyas HaMeisim in HaTorah. How do we know the resurrection from the Torah? Shenema Oz Yoshir Moshe, then they will sing Moshe b'nei Yisrael Sashira Azos Hashem. What do you mean? They were singing it now as they crossed the Yam Suf. Sholoi Nema, it doesn't say they sang. Ela Yoshir, they will sing. Mikan l'Tkiyas HaMeisim in HaTorah, they will sing it again. K'yayitz b'davar ata Omer Yivne Yeshua Oz Yivne Yeshua Mizbeach LaHashem. Then Yeshua will build an altar to Hashem. Bana le'nem, it doesn't say he built it. Ela Yivne, Mikan l'Tkiyas HaMeisim in HaTorah. Ela Mi'ata Oz Yivne Shloimei Bama L'Kimosh Shikutz Mayav. Then Shlomo HaMelech will build an altar to Kamosh, the disgusting Getchka idol of Mayav. Hachanami de Yivna, does it mean that Shlomo will build it in the future? Now this is what Rav Miller would always point out, that you cannot read casually the prophets. Because if you read it casually, you'll say that Shlomo HaMelech in his old age built idols. Now, of course, God forbid to say about Shlomo HaMelech, Ish Chacham Mikol Adam, the writer of Keheles and Shir Hashirim, which is Baruch HaKodesh Nemra, that he worshipped idolatry and he built an altar to idolatry. But what it means is that we know Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives. We know that Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives, and some of his wives made idols, and he didn't stop them. And because he didn't stop them, we know that Kol Mi Sheyachal Limchais Ve'eina Moicha, it's considered as if he did it. So that's what it means. But it says it in the future tense to make it clear that he didn't actually do it. It's as if he did it. Of course, he didn't do it. Amar B'Shimon Levi, how do we know the resurrection from the Torah? This is something we say 3 times a day. Fortunate is he who dwells in your house. He will yet praise you. Now, Sela means forever. It doesn't say that they praised you. They will praise you. And Sela means forever, in the future. Mikan l'tchiyas hameisim in HaTorah. V'amar B'Shimon Levi, kol ha'omer shira ba'olam hazeh. You want to know if you're going to merit to sing in the next world? Kol Aimer Shira Ba'olam Hazeh, whoever sings to Hashem in this world, Zaycha V'Aimer L'Olam Haba, it will merit to sing to Hashem in the next world. Shenema Ashrei Yoshvei V'Yisecha, fortunate is those who come into the shul and sing in this world, you'll yet sing to Hashem in the next world. That's why we should say with a passion, it is upon us to praise the Odain, the boss of everyone. L'seis gedula, that's singing to God. Sing to God in this world, we'll sing to God in the next world. Amar Reb Chiya bar Abba, Amar Reb Yochanan, how do we know the resurrection from the Torah? Shenamar kol tzefayich, the voice of your prophets, of your seers, nasu kol yachtav, they will raise their voices together. Yerananu, they will sing. It doesn't say they sang. Rinanu leinema, it doesn't say they sang. Ela yerananu, they will sing. Mekan l'tchiyas ha'meisim in HaTorah. Am Reb Chiya bar Abba, Am Reb Yochanan, Hasidim kol ha'neviim kulan, Aimrim shira b'kol echad. All the prophets. We had some great prophets. Yirmiyah, we had great prophets. Yeshaya, we had great prophets. Hasidim kol ha'neviim kulan, Aimrim shira b'kol echad. They will sing in unison. Shenemar kol tzafayich, the voice of your seers, your prophets. Nosu kol yachdav, will raise their voices together, and Yiranenu, and they will sing to you. I said we did the Mishnah already. Again, if anybody wants to sponsor Chumash here tomorrow night, to be its lone exclusive sponsor, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. See you tomorrow again at 8, and have a wonderful evening.